Hey everyone, let's try this again. Round two of June 19th. Pat Oates is Awoke. Hopefully, this one is working out better. I just recorded one an hour ago, was going off, talking, going all these rants and everything, and then found out that the audio was starting to mess up. So then I'm not technical. So what I did was I did what anyone would do. I first clicked on YouTube to see could I hear anything else, and all audio was bad. So I did that move I know. I turned off my computer, and then I turned on my computer, and then I listened to something, and it said, "All right, you're good now." So I think I'm good now. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. I could just sit there and say, "Hey, anyone, there's one person watching. Someone tell me if you can hear me," and just write a comment. Oh, you guys know this. You can chat with me. There's a thing on the side there. You can chat, but no one ever does that. But that's fine. But what I was talking about before, I'm not gonna try to recreate the magic. I mean, you missed it. It was oof, the magic I was throwing out there. It was just like YouTube gold. We would have been at a billion subscribers and not the 42 that we have or whatever. If people were able to hear, and I don't know if I can recreate it. Sometimes with magic, I mean, you don't tell Houdini get back in the box and do it again. He just did it. You know what I mean? But basically, yeah. This will be a shorter one this week, obviously. Today, going to be doing a new format. That's what I was talking about before. Starting next week, where it's going to be broken out into 10-minute segments. Basically, things going on in the world, things going on up here, and then things going on with me, health and eating wise. Kind of make it like a morning show type thing. Kind of make it dumb. Try to add more stuff. I like doing this. I like talking. I like doing a morning type thing. To me, it's the closest I ever get to being a morning radio type person. So that's what I'm trying to do. What I talked about before was basically my whole goal with this is not to be some YouTube person. I'm never going to be anyone people like that. I like doing my podcast weekly. And I took 50 episodes. The first 50 I ever did my podcast. It did not really they're not. You can't even find them under Pat Oates Sad on iTunes and Stitcher and stuff like that. They're under a Comedy LOL umbrella because I wanted to work out the kinks and learn how to do this before I was proud of what I put out. You can find them if you go to Comedy LOL on iTunes. I find the first 50. Episode 12 is probably the one people like the most of them. But I wanted to work it out, and that's what this is. Me talking to this camera, doing this a half hour every day, is me working out what I think could work, and I'm starting to get ideas for things like that. It was kind of frustrating this morning not getting into work because I told a story, which I'm trying to recreate again. But I'm tired this morning. But that's what happens when you're doing comedy at night and then trying to get up in the morning and live life. Since I've been almost 2 years now and not drinking at all, and since February of this year being very healthy and not eating at night anymore, I feel better about everything in life. But I'm up more. I've got more energy, but I'm awake. But because of that, um, it, I get tired when I'm doing things because I'm exerting myself more. And yesterday was beautiful. It was very hot out though, and I went for a run because I've been trying to run every day. Because I'm the kind of person that tells myself if I say it, you don't have to do it today. Well, but you could take today off, and then I tell myself I can take tomorrow off. Then I tell myself take the next day off, and then I ruin all the progress of things I'm doing. I'm that way with working out now. I'm that way with comedy. I'm that way with a lot of things. Like even relationships. That was me. A lot of it was, you know, if this person doesn't want to see me today, then they don't want to see me tomorrow. Then they don't want to see me. And then I just built things in my dumb head. But regardless, what I'm saying is I was tired because I was hosting an open mic last night. Um, Hosting the open mic we do every Monday at Rascal Flats in Stanford. Um, this was the first week I didn't have a ride there. So I was taking a train. There's a train that comes from where I live in Ansonia, and then there's a transfer to in Bridgeport toward the Stanford. And I noticed that the last train running back to Ansonia was going to be perfect timing because if the open mic ended around 9:30, 9:45, like it could, by the time I got out of there, there was a 10:26 last train that would get me there, get me home midnight, whatever. Two trains, a little bit of walking, no big deal. Works out well. But the open mic, we had a poor turnout last night, and it's going to happen. The first two were great, turnout wise, comic wise, but there's another open mic that happens in Connecticut on Mondays that's quite popular, and that only happens twice a month. So I think sometimes we're going to lose some of our people, which I'm cool with. go hit mics. As long as you're supporting them, that's all that matters. But it was very nice out yesterday, and it wasn't really a not people really didn't really come out too much to it. So we had 5 comics, and I worked out a lot of stuff on stage, and the other comics that really was loose at the time. Whatever, it was a good group of people to work out material, and that's all open mics really are. It's not about I don't care if there's an audience. There just wasn't a lot of comedians, so it ended quicker than it normally would. So therefore, when it was over, I had way more time to wait for the train than I normally would. So I got over to the train station, which is only like a 5-6 minute walk away from Rascal Flats, and I hung out. And they had an inside area. This wasn't just like a standalone platform. This was in Stanford. They have a nice little train station. I went in, got myself a coffee, had a little writing to do. I had listened to this week's Reluctantly Here podcast with Catherine and Katie, and I enjoyed that because early on they mentioned my name, so I'm always happy. But I was listening to that and then listening in the background to crazy people in the train station yelling. One guy was yelling about how Steve Jobs was basically killed by the MTA, which I'd never heard that theory. So that was fun for him. He didn't have a lot of fun new knowledge. I couldn't really binge watch this man, but like he was very strong on that. It wasn't just trains. It was Stephen Jobs destroyed the creator. He created the internet, and then we destroyed him. The MTA did. I don't know. When I went to go get on the train, there was another nuts guy, and he was kind of yelling. And I try not to judge. You never know what's going on in people's dome mentally, so I don't try to say anything or draw attention to it. But you can't ignore when someone's just yelling, just yelling nonsense. Of course, the way my life works out, I get on the train, and after waiting there for an hour and a half, finally get on the train, and I'm in one of those seats where you face the other person. That's the one seat I grabbed. And of course, that dude is there. He comes in, he rips a poster off the train wall, which I didn't know you could redecorate, but I get it. Hey, you do you, man. Feng shui. He rips the poster down the wall, and people are kind of laughing at it, whatever. He's a disheveled guy. He's got some food with him. He's a messy man. And he just keeps saying, they're going to throw me off the train. They're going to throw me off the train. Obviously, this is my first almost crazy guy rodeo. He keeps saying that, which means that he does not have a ticket. And normally, when that is the case, what crazy people will do is they'll make a scene because one of two things will happen for them in their lives. They've learned how to adapt. These are the animals that are injured in life, and they've learned how to stay alive still. Because he knows if he was on the train, he keeps yelling, "They're gonna throw me off the train." Someone is gonna come to him and say, "Why?" Because that's just human. He knows that he's throwing that bait out there. He's gonna catch a dumb fish, and either somebody, a customer on the train, someone riding the train, passenger, will say, "Why?" And then he'll go, "I don't have a ticket, I don't have a ticket." And then someone will either buy him money, give him money for a ticket, or if the people running the train hear him yelling, they'll be like, "Why are we going to throw you off the train?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, I'll take it, you're going to throw me off." And they'll, 9 times out of 10, they're not throwing anyone off a train. They will say, "Where are you going?" And if it's not too far, whatever, they'll be like, "Hey, take the ride next time." And that's exactly what happened when the guy was coming around to get the train tickets. I pulled out my phone, my app, showed him my thing. And then this guy's like, "All right, throw me off train, throw me off train." And the guy's like, "Why? We're going to throw the train." "I don't have a ticket. You're going to throw me off. Just throw me off now." And it was moving. And he's like, it's so dramatic. I mean, I've dated dudes, not dudes, but I've dated people like this dude who are just like, "I'll throw you. Why don't you just leave me here in the middle of the streets?" Like, why? Because I didn't want to go to Wendy's. Like, drama. So we can calm down with your drama. You know what I mean? But regardless, dude's doing his thing. And the guy, it was late at night. It's 11:15 at this point. And the guy's just like, "Hey, man, where are you going to?" He goes, "South Norwalk." And I'm saying that out loud so you people know to avoid South Norwalk for the rest of your lives. And he's like, "South Norwalk." And he goes, "Okay. All right, man. Just next time, make sure you get a ticket. You're good." The guy's like, "All right, you're throwing off the train." And he still keeps saying it. I got headphones in. I've been working on this, my latest little speech thing for the last that thing I've been doing. I'm kind of half working on my phone. I finished up one podcast. Now I'm doing another one. And as I'm listening, I hear whistling and I hear, "Rah." I was wearing a shirt that has Ric Flair, the wrestler's head, Ric Flair's face, and the Wu-Tang symbol with his face on it, but it's covering the woo part. His face is, and it says Tang. Therefore, the play on words. Ric Flair likes to yell woo, and it's just Tang. So it's Wu Tang, whatever. Silly shirt. My buddy got it from me. Pete, thank you, Pete. I enjoy the shirt. I like to wear it a lot. I'm wearing it. The homeless guy is now making, hey, 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 hey. And I kind of look up like, what? And he's whistling. And I look at him and realize he's whistling at me. Now, the passengers are kind of laughing and doing whatever. And I'm like, what is going on? And I look at him. Yes. He goes, points to my shirt. Is that guy alive or is he dead? Is he alive? Is he still alive? What's going on with him? Is he okay? And yes, I know I could just give him the knowledge. I do have the knowledge. I am aware. I don't know if he's okay. I'm not friends with Flair, but I am a wrestling fan, and I also understand that he's still alive. I don't know. It was late and tired. And I was just like, I just looked at the guy. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's a T-shirt. I kind of put my head back down. He's like, hey, hey. I asked you a question. You're about to be rude. I go, don't you? And I looked right at him, and I didn't yell. I wasn't rude. I said, don't whistle at people. That's not what you do when you speak to someone. You don't whistle at them like they're a puppy. And I'm not trying to puppy shame. If you're a puppy out there, I'm sorry that your plight in life is that way. You shouldn't be whistled at either. No one should be whistled at. Whistling is never done good. Catcalling, puppy rendering, people bothering. It's not no good whistling. So that's all I said to him, and he just said, what should I say if I want to talk to somebody? I said, you should say, excuse me. And then I would have said to you, yes, sir. He would have said, hi, I've noticed your T-shirt. Very lovely. And I would say, well, thank you, sir. My friend Pete got it for me. He would have said, lovely. That's wonderful. Pete sounds like a nice fellow. The man on the shirt, Ric Flair. You happen to know him, his status in life, alive or dead. I would have said he's alive and well, and woo, he's doing great. And he had a great 30 for 30 on ESPN recently. And his daughter is one of the top wrestlers in wrestling. You should try watching it again because you seem like somebody that could use a hobby or an interest. And that would have been it. He just looks and goes, and I saw people were laughing, and I wasn't doing this to make people laugh. I don't know. I thought maybe if I tried to teach him how to speak to people, he wouldn't have to be as nuts, but it didn't work. He just kept going, throw me off the train, throw me off the train. So like, whatever. Caught that train, caught another train. Got home around midnight. Now doing this. Speaking of Pete and speaking of the Rascal Flats thing, while I was there, I was talking with him and another comic entered us. We're just talking, ready for the mic to start. Pete says, did you hear about what Trump said today? And that could be something that's said every day. And I'm not political. I don't get into that kind of stuff. That's not my thing. I don't know much about it. I'm not a fan of anything I've ever heard Trump say. He was talking about politically. He just doesn't seem like a dude I would chill with. But when he told me about Space Force, which I'm sure you guys are already tired of hearing with Twitter and social media and everything going on, and the whole world making jokes. But man, I was like, okay, that must be an Onion article, or it must be a fake. Somebody made like a laugh or die type thing or something. But no, Donald Trump is gonna put his stamp on the history books and then open up his own branch of the military, the Space Force, which this day and age I understand with satellites and the world being so small and having them, govern more things. I understand the thought process. But as a comic, I am very upset at the laziness that Trump showed with the name of it. Space Force is not a good name. That is lazy. That sounds like a Netflix B real movie original. Where they're just like, let's just throw it out there. People kind of like Star Wars. That would always happen. Like when years ago movies came out, if somebody wanted to like kind of bogart off it, they would say like, it's Star Wars. And I was like, well, this is Space Force. It's kind of like Star Wars. It'd be the trailer. Like, kind of. Oh, it's a lazy name. I guess if he was a comic on stage and he was pitching that, I'd be like, hey man, take the word space, write it down on a piece of paper, put a line under it, and then write 10 other words, 10 other describers, 10 other things that could mean space, that aren't space, that could make it stick out. Push your creativity. Do the same thing with force. Come up with a better name, something like that. Universal security, the Trump Galaxy Defenders, anything. Voltron, Who knows? I would rather call it Voltron. Voltron 2, Electric Boogaloo, over Space Force. Space Force is a brutal, terrible. You know, I know we're used to saying Air Force, and that's a normal thing. But I don't know why, but Air Force doesn't sound ridiculous to me. Maybe it's because it's been taught in my head. Maybe when they first said Air Force, people were like, duh, Air Force, Army, Navy. Navy, we now know means what, but people don't know what to say. Like, I'm just being naval right now. You're going in the water. But Army and the Marines, those are cool names. The Air Force, I guess, we're just got used to it. I guess, but Space Force just sounds ridiculous. It doesn't even sound futuristic. It just sounds lazy and dumb. And I don't know. The first people sign up for the Space Force are not. They're going to be like the dude on the train with me. That's who's signing up for Space Force. He's going because they think they're going to space. I mean, they think they're going to space. They think they're going to be space people. They're going to be space soldiers. Space cannots, whatever the hell they are. People that want to go to space. I don't know if we want them defending us. Oh, this stinks down here. They got hot bitches in space. Like, no, there's no hot bitches in space. Which is, by the way, the name, the sequel of Space Force 2, Hot Bitches in Space, would be the movie that they made. That was it. Just, you're already a Looney Tune drunk, but like usually at least come up with more creative shit. And you got that fucking dope pencil, like your weird parrot on your shoulder. That's a creepy dude that has just had chilling there. I don't know, man. Space Force, that's lazy. It's a lazy name. Go back to the drawing board, come up with a cooler name than Space Force. And then the uniforms everywhere. And he should have had like William Shatner or somebody standing there with him, not Pence. That's a space dude. Space dude would have been cool. Space Force. Buzz Aldrin. Is he alive? I don't know. John Glenn. Whatever one. Armstrong. Whichever one's alive, you should have had that dude be there with Space Force. With your big Space Force. I don't know. Maybe let's focus on the military we got before we start branching out more. We're not getting, and I'm not trying to be controversial here, but it seems to be that years and years and years ago, our brightest people did go into the military, a lot of them. And they're going other avenues now. The herd has thinned for the people that decide to be part of the armed forces because as a people, we're not. I don't think many people are just blindly going to go defend the country and give up their lives. I think the people that do that, if that's what your mindset is, then you do you and like whatever makes you happy. I'm not putting down the military in any way. I'm just saying I know I wouldn't want to put my life in jeopardy to defend something. That's just not me. Except if it was my kids, then yeah, but my kids aren't going to fight Iraq anytime soon. I don't think. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm not. It's not that I don't believe in them that they couldn't. I mean, tell your kids they can do whatever they want. If you want to go fight Iraq, you go for it. And I got your back in that one. But I'm not looking to defend anybody or do that. It's just not in my DNA. That's just not what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to stand in the back and make fun of things and then run. That's about it there. But we keep expanding what our military is and trying to doing all these crazy things. The kind of superstars that are going to sign up for Space Force are going to be a treat. They're going to be a special treat. They're going to be champions. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be the dude that wasn't qualified to be the greeter at Walmart type of dude that's going to be in the Space Force. First line of Space Force defense. There's going to be a 5-star general that's worked his whole life building up since the 60s or so. He was killing it in not 70s obviously, but okay. There's going to be someone who was like in the front grounds of like the Gulf War and stuff like that, and battling that and Desert Storm, and then was there, and then one of the minds in the meeting rooms for how we're going to deal with terrorism and 9/11 and all that. And he's near the end of his military career, and he's served, and he's got stars and he's stripes, and he's based. They're going to have statues. I mean, he's the man. There's going to be a boat named after that motherfucker. Before he goes, they're going to be like, "We need you for one more thing. Need you to command and head the Space Force." You know, like, I fucking wasted my whole life on Space Force. I gotta be on Space Force. Space Force. Space Force. Notice my Allen Iverson practice thing. Space Force. You don't want to be in Space Force. Give it a cooler name and you want to be in. No one's just. That means that down the street when I'm in Sonia, when I'm walking by the other military recruiters, there's going to be a Space Force recruiter. Is he going to have a space helmet on? Is he going to have? Is there going to be aliens? Picture like aliens, like you want them to ruin your day. I know. I know it's more than that, but it's the name makes it seem dumb. That's the problem with it. Marine. I don't even Marine. Just I know it's kind of water, but it just sounds tougher than Space Force. Fucking Yoda, part of Space Force. The four. Is that where they got it? Was he like, well, it's space, and then okay, what else about space? The kids like Star Wars and the Force Awakens, and the Force is strong with that one, and the Force. Well, yeah, kids will love that. They love the word. I hope it wasn't one of those marketing names. It's gonna be space, and people like the Force. What about Lightsaber Academy? That's what they should train there. Yeah, that's what we'll do. You're not if you're not gonna be a respected president, at least be a creative one. That's all I'm saying. At least push the like a comic, like your young comic comes out and just goes, dick joke. And it's like, no man, push the creativity. Make it seem like a dick joke with a and then make people think dick joke without you saying dick joke. Push yourself. That's just gonna put you ahead of other people. Trump, come up with a cooler name than fucking Space Force. That's all. You have your Space Force. If that's your dream, you're gonna be in the history books to create Space Force, go for it, man. But give it a cooler name than fucking Space Force. You know that as being a big wrestling fan, um, I listened to this podcast, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, and they were talking one time about the first WrestleMania, and we all know it is WrestleMania. People who don't know wrestling. When my kids watch wrestling with me, my ex-wife will say to them, Are you watching WrestleMania?" They'll say it like that's the name of all the wrestling and whatever. And people know the name; it's been branded that much. But before the first WrestleMania, when they were playing with names of it, one of the names has now come out that they've said that they were going to call it was the Colossal Tussle. The Colossal Tussle was going to be the name, and then Howard Finkel, one of the ring announcers, was like, "How about WrestleMania?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's you know what? Yes, that's better. Yeah, we wouldn't have 30 Colossal Tussles. We wouldn't know if Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, because Colossal Tussle would have ruined everything. Nobody would good. No talented people would want to be part of the Colossal fucking Tussle. Just like Space Force. Call Space Force Colossal Tussle. That's a better name. Army's here. Oh man, whatever. The Marines, the Colossal Tussle Force. Yeah, I'd be in. You don't want to tussle. You don't want to tussle your hair. And then colossal, like large tussle. You don't. That's a force. There wouldn't be a wrestling thing, but that'd be a military branch. Heck, I wasn't 43 and I had bum leg. Maybe I'd sign up. No. So next week we'll be doing trying to do the new format a little bit. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I keep saying that I'm not going to do them on Wednesdays because that's when Pat Oates is sad. It's iTunes and Stitcher and comes out. New one tomorrow with comedian Ryan Brown. If you're a comic, you're going to love it. And if you're not a comic, I think you'll enjoy it. The YouTube video, it's up there too for it. The audio is weird. We did it live at a place called Hop Knot in Southington. That's where we had a show that night. And the way the audio worked, it was not plugged in right. And you can hear a lot of background noise. And it's kind of annoying. You can hear it, but it's not good. I would wait to hear it on all the social media stuff. We put it out there, but on iTunes, subscribe to us. Pat Oates is sad on iTunes. Make us 5 stars. So that helps people search it better. So you can help us out with that. But give it the 5 stars and subscribe so you hear when it comes out tomorrow. But if you're a comic, I mean, really breaking down Ryan, somebody who's not only doing comedy, but has helped run a comedy club for years. And there's this big contest right here in New England. It's one of the bigger comedy contests every year, and talks about dealing with bookers and getting into the contest, getting into clubs, and the approaches you should do with someone who is a booker. And also talks about his side of trying to get out there and do comedy and putting on the shows. He not only does that, he puts on tons of shows all over New England through breweries and things like that. And if you're a young comic trying to figure out how to make your own stage time or do things, this is a very good podcast to listen to. And we had a lot of fun with it. and we talk a lot of shit, which is fun too. So be sure you check that one out. I always say that when that comes out, I'm not going to do one, but more than likely tomorrow morning I'll be doing one of these anyway. Subscribe here on YouTube so you can see these things when they come out. If we can get certain people to interact, that'd be sweet too. But if not, hey, we're just still figuring this out. My new last half article, I'm working on that tonight. That should be up probably Thursday. And my old articles are up and they're getting a lot of good reads. The last one's still getting a lot of great feedback about mental health and comedy and things like that. Go check that out. You can see it on, you can follow me on medium.com or follow last on medium.com or go to patoach.com and find it there. Or go to, if you follow me on social media, I share it a bunch. You'll find it there. Go to my website, patoach.com to see a bunch of shows that are coming up. This tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll be at Lenny's in Old Lyme. I know the tickets sell out pretty quick, so you can go online and find that there. But check that out. And wrote myself, Beecher, and Ryan Brout on that show. Thursday is my